Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your man EGlaze of the EGlaze Chronicles, and this is the 79th edition of the EGlaze Chronicles. And it's a very special edition because the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Willie Glaze is joining me on his birthday. Everybody, Mr. Willie Glaze, we won't tell him his age. I let him tell you age. He'll put a few years up there. We'll let him tell you that. But get a chance to join him. No better way for me to end the 2020 year than to have a conversation with my dad. So everyone, please welcome Mr. Willie Glaze. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing. I made it 6 7 years.
67 years.
67 years.
So how does that feel for you? You know, you've been through a lot of your time. So how does that feel to make
Well,
67?
I feel good to make it. It's been some tiring times over the years.
Let me ask you this. I always like to start with this with anybody. And you know you're my dad. I'm gonna start with this one. What's the most thing you've learned about life? What's the biggest thing you've learned about life and that you try to pass on to people yourself? The one thing you tell everybody about this thing called life.
Life is just what a lot of people say. Life is what you make it, but that's not true. I found out you had to fight every chance you get for everything you got, and that's how sometimes fighting may not get you in the right places. But I saw it no other way but to fight for everything I got, and I fought for I thought what was right. And one thing I tried to instill in you and Everett both was fighting for what you believe in. So if I left you with nothing else, I would leave you and him with that. And sometimes, you get knocked off your feet by trying to fight for what's right. But the thing about getting knocked down, to give you a chance to get back up. And I tried to stand up every time I got knocked down. So
I like that. Stand up every time you get knocked down. Yeah. Pop, going through life, you've done law enforcement, you've done a lot in your life. You see what we talk about this off the camera a lot about law enforcement and what you went through and all that, what you grew up with. What's your take on today's law enforcement and things of that nature and what you see around everything?
Well, what I say is right now is you don't have good law enforcement officers out there now. You have a lot of guys out there that shouldn't be wearing the badge, but they looked at TV and they looked at the movies and think that anybody can do that job when anybody can't do that job. Back in the day, we didn't go to no fight to pull a gun and shoot nobody. You either got with them and you brought them in one way or the other, but you shot a person when you had to. And it wasn't bullet to kill a person. And I just see some of the guys that wearing badges now that shouldn't have it on, should have never put them on. And that's what causing all the problem. And you got some good police out there, good cops. And you got some that should have never been out there. And they had been some of them been had a badge on for a very long time.
Right.
And they was out there when I was there. They see nothing but color. See a color line. When they step out the car, they was doing it here when I first took the badge on in Lincoln County. Yeah, a few around here that was that way. But I believed in what I was doing as a law enforcement officer, and I know there were plenty of good cops out there. And it had made good cops look bad. It made a lot of good cops get killed because the happy-handed people pulling guns every 5 minutes. I mean, I just can't see it. I just don't see you jumping out the car and pulling a gun. Yeah. And we weren't trained that way. And I don't believe they're being trained that way either. If it is, the training has changed a lot.
Yeah. It is different these days. You also have a history of working. Well, let's talk about this. Everybody asks me about this, and I want you to tell them. You grew up there longer than I have. Lincoln County. I had to hear about that all the time. And growing up in Lincoln County, what are your thoughts, being all your life in small town and things of that nature? Tell them about it, all our families down there. Tell them about town of Lincoln County, in your opinion.
It was just like most of the southern places back in that day. I was one that really hated it. And the reason I hated it was I didn't want nobody to tell me that you were better than I was.
Right.
And I didn't want nobody to tell me that I had to say yes sir to you because You was 2 years younger than I was, and you was a different color than I was. And
Right.
them the kind of things that you went through. And one thing I do remember, and my father worked at a service station, and he worked for years, and he was treated like most of them was treated. They worked at that service station like they wasn't
Right.
human. Uh, um, this guy came up to me, and I was like 12 years old. I went to work very early,
Right.
and he was old as my oldest brother, Robert. And he asked me a question. I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah" to him, and he asked me a question again for me to answer him again. I said, "Yeah." Then he asked me again, and he told me, "So you say yeah to him again? He's gonna knock my blanket head off, you know." So he asked me
Wow.
another question for me to answer him, and I wouldn't answer him because I refused to say yes sir to him
Yeah.
because at his age, and that's the stuff you went through. And that's the bitterness that went in your heart as you grew up in a small town like Lincoln County. And that's the reason I was so relieved to put that badge on here first. I believe me putting that badge on here first made a difference because
Right.
um, there was one or two before me, but they only could arrest black people.
Wow.
They couldn't arrest anybody. But when I put it on, I was allowed to arrest anybody I wanted to whenever I got ready to. And that was the difference. That would change the law enforcement around Lincoln County for everybody. Um, I
Wow. I
tried.
didn't. So there were two before you. I didn't know that. That's
Well,
interesting.
that was well. They hired Mr. Jenkins Leverage, and he was
Mm,
on to work the football games. We had two black school and white school, and he worked
right.
the black football games, and he couldn't touch a white person. He couldn't even pull him over or say anything to him.
Right.
But that changed when I put the badge on, and
Yeah.
it changed forever. And now, police officer in Lincoln and just like anybody anywhere else, they can do whatever they want to do. I
You was
mean,
one of
not
the
whatever.
first. He was one of the first chief deputies in the state of Georgia, right?
Well, there was
Right.
right here in this little area here,
Yeah.
Thompson, McCormick. Um, there was three of us. Logan Marshall, he's sheriff of Montgomery County right now, and the guy used to be the sheriff of McCormick County, and me, and it was like 378.
Yep.
Uh, we all was chief deputy at about the same time. Uh, in that there is you only had one of us on the East Police Department, Sheriff Department. Um, and then after that, I felt like if I had a didn't do well, there would never have been another black police officer in Lincoln County. Period.
Yeah.
And I tried my best to hold up my end of the deal, even though I went through some hellified times.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and back then in those days too, I mean, the toughest thing you can be is a law enforcement officer in your own hometown where you know everybody.
Yeah.
And I told the GBI officer that. I said, I hate being a law enforcement officer in my hometown. I said, because I know everybody. I said, my friends. He said, no, you're wrong. And he said, your friends is never going to put you in the position where you got to mess with them. And I thought about that. And he
Right.
was right. If they're your friends, they can respect you, and you're never going to have to go through that to dealing with.
Right. You grew up also, for people don't know, in a big family. It was 10 of y'all, as they say.
That's right.
It was three brothers, I mean, three sisters and seven brothers.
My mama decided she wanted a football team, but she missed it with the three girls. Yeah, I was number five.
Yeah.
No, I was number four boys. I'm number. I read in the middle, number five. Children. That was, and right now it's only four of us living. Um, boys,
Four
two,
boys. Yeah. Four
yeah,
boys.
and the three girls are still living.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big family, and that's really we talk about it on hard. That's what I'm talking about. My father, but he's my hero because my father. I never hardly saw him. I mean, he left there when the sun come up,
Yeah.
and he didn't come home. The sun went down.
Yeah.
Now, where he had time to get all of us, I don't know. But there was 11 after, really 11 of us,
Yeah.
because Mama had a miscarriage with one of them. So yeah, but he kept us fed, and he kept clothes on our back. And just to go back to tell you how cruel that woman was that he worked for. Um, I was sick. My mother told me that all the time how sick I was. He had borrowed some money from me to take me to the doctor one time. So he went back to get more money from her.
Right.
And she told him that boy ain't well yet, just let him die.
Wow.
See, that's how cruel she was.
Wow.
And so being told stories like that, it can't do nothing but harden your heart.
Yeah.
And when I grew up, when we integrated, I wanted to make sure that they knew that I was just as smart as they were.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I want to teach you I didn't want to teach you, I want y'all to see the way I handle things. And right now, I got to give it to you and I got to give it to him. Y'all have uphill y'all end of the deal. And I'm completely satisfied with the both of you.
Yeah.
And the way y'all went. And I'm satisfied with you two girls too. I really, those are my heart.
Yeah.
And I ain't really seen too much I would die for, but you and everything and the two girls, I might give a life for. And I had a rough time dealing with some of the issues I had to deal with, but it was all for the betterment of you and Everett at that time.
Papa, we think about a lot of things, and I never heard that story about Miss Minnie. I know, I'm
Oh
sorry to say, but I never
yeah,
heard that story before. That's interesting
yeah.
about saying let him die. But it's just funny. I don't think people realize to have 10 kids back in the day, and it wasn't a big house that y'all grew up in.
Oh no, no.
And then
It
y'all had
was.
to feed each other, but and all of that stuff. That was what was interesting. And all 10 of y'all, I know you said the 11 when we talked about that, but y'all all grew and y'all came out of it. But just to talk about, before integration, being segregated and all that, having 10 brothers and sisters growing up with them.
It was. Mama really uh, kept us. We didn't have to go play with nobody else because we had enough to play with. And one thing about having a big family like that, you go to school and they love to tell on you, right?
Right, right.
You see you in school, you see one of them, and they'll look at you. If they look at you kind of hard, oh shit, they're gonna tell mama. And then they're off that bus, you just dragging because mama didn't want me to. Well, I was the first one to play sports in the family. She didn't really want me to play. Um, I would play ball at school, and Frank and them look at me and say, "Uh huh," they're gonna tell mama. Uh huh. And I knew what that meant. On my way home every day, getting off that bus, that was a long walk home. But she had told me not to play. I played anyway. I had to play because just everybody in the room with me in my class was ball players.
Right.
It's just like with you in your class. Most of them played ball. And it
Yep.
was just something to do. And she finally gave up and let me play. And it wasn't really for me. Dennis and Charles wouldn't play because she didn't want neither one of them play either.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have played either because I had hard let Charles play.
Hey, hello, Dad. Somebody want to say happy birthday.
Hey, G-Pop.
Hello.
Look who I have. Oh, wait.
Who is that? Chico?
All right, you can
Happy birthday, G-Pop.
Thank
Dad's
you.
kicking me out now.
Okay. Okay. Yes, my
So
girl.
that's funny. Just to hear that. Yeah, Dennis and Charles played, and then it laid open for everybody else after y'all kids to play,
Yeah.
which allowed us to play.
I
And
kind of
so,
knew you were gonna play because you got a hold to that class just like I had. You had a class just like I had. The other guys in that played ball.
yeah,
And I was telling somebody else about that class you was in that they graduated more males from college than I ever black males from college in any class in the history of Lincoln County.
we had. I know we had about
There's a
7.
bunch of them. There's a
Yeah,
bunch
we
of them that
went
went through.
deep. we were very deep going to school. I'm very proud of that class. And
Well,
it's because of what you guys did. You know, I call y'all the West Side Crew. What y'all
you
did.
know what? Y'all pushed each other. I mean, I think
Yeah,
one of y'all, one graduated, the other was gonna graduate. So there's a bunch of professional guys that came out of that class with class of '91. Matter of
yeah,
fact, we were 71, y'all was 91.
yep. 20 years later.
Yeah, 20
Yep.
years later. Um,
Hey, my boy Vince wanted to say happy birthday, Dad. He gave you a little happy birthday shout out.
okay then, I appreciate that.
So
But
let me just talk about. I got to talk about it because you've been married. Let me see. I'm 47.
uh-huh.
So that means you've been married for 47 years. So let's bring up my mama, your
Okay.
wife for 47 years.
You want to bring up
My
my other half?
Yeah.
Yeah.
47 years, Pop. That's a long time for anything. I thought my
Hey, look. She had to love me, and I had to love her, because we would have been killed each other by now. Because, and I gotta give it to her, because I was a handful.
Yeah.
I was a handful. Now, I admit that right now. I was a handful, and I got to say she stuck with me, and I give her credit for that, because now that in those real civil years, when you come where you need each other now, that we both retired,
Yeah.
and we was talking to each other the other day about, so glad we retired, because we ain't got to do nothing. That's what we want to do.
I can tell you that was the best news I heard when you said you retired and then she retired. I was so happy because I wanted y'all just to relax and
Hey, I mean, like she said,
do
you got to get out of bed if you don't want to. You go to Augusta, you got to worry about coming back. What you got to do tomorrow? Nothing.
nothing.
That what she asked me. That what you got to do? Nothing, already. But that is, I mean, I'm enjoying it, because it's something else where I fought at every job I had. I mean, I got so tired of fighting these people. Got to know what to do. Boy. I mean,
Right.
I went into management at plants, and it was a daily fight. They
Yeah.
just to stay there, and not only was the other side trying to get me out, but my people was trying to do me the same way. And
Yeah.
they had made a bet at Gym Tech that I wouldn't make it 2 months. You know how long I stayed there?
10 years, wasn't it?
14.
14 years. Yeah.
14 years. Now, I told one guy, and I know he said after I had been there about 6 years, I said, yeah, I heard you say I wasn't going to make it 2 months. I ain't said that, Mr. Glaze. Yeah, you did. I said, yeah, you did. You said it. I said, it's been 6 years. Yeah, yes, sir, Mr. Glaze. You've been here 6 years. That's right. I said, and if I had been like he thought I would, I wouldn't have been here.
Now, one
And
thing,
they renamed me, though.
yeah,
I got renamed.
yeah.
I hope this is not a family show. My nickname was goddamn Willie Glaze.
You got there really good. I
That's
think
what
they
they
said
call me.
I think they said that outside of the workplace. I think they said that wherever you went.
Yeah, that's what my name was. They nicknamed me that. I said I thought my mama named me that. They kept calling me that.
That's funny. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Let me ask you this, Paul. Wherever you've been, you always had that leadership quality. You've owned your own business. You've been over different things. What is leadership to you?
Being able to lead, being able to get people to do what you need them to do, not what you want them to do, but what you need them to do. And 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 I had a way, even in school, guys followed me. I was never a follower. I was always a leader. And most of them end up all right. They followed me. I mean, I never got behind anybody and wanted to follow them around. They followed me, and then most of them followed me because I gave them something to follow. And
Mm,
that's what you got to do. You got to give them something to follow. You just can't start talking at the top of your head and you don't know what you're talking about.
yeah,
If they follow you one time and you ain't doing the right thing, ain't nobody gonna follow you no more.
right.
But when I came to Gym Tech, I came with a reputation. Right? I mean, I came with Crowder. I had went to Crowder. You know how Crowder was when I went to Crowder.
Yeah, yeah,
And I came with a reputation. I came there with the way I'm gonna get things done, and I did. And they couldn't argue with what I did. And this Jewish man from Philadelphia fell in love with me at Gym Tech. What kind of thing is that? A Jewish man from up north fell in love with a black man from the south. And that's the reason I stayed there 14 years. You know why he did that? I could run his plant. He didn't have to pay me nothing much. I ain't believe in paying you. He didn't pay me for what I should have been making.
Right.
But it was a kind of thing because I wanted to come home. You know, I had been up in Newnan and Mississippi, and I was ready, North Carolina. I was ready to come home,
Yeah.
and I took that cut to come home.
Yeah. So
But
back to this problem. You also, from what I remember growing up, and some of the reason why we do some of the things we do is you also fought from a program called Twilight and fought for people's rights and trying to get people in school. Like you said, in Lincoln County, it was a growth process. I think a lot of people don't realize Lincoln County didn't integrate until 72 or 71. I mean, and then there were still things you had to climb and still things you had to do. And I remember growing up, you fighting to get teachers hired and black teachers hired and things of that nature. What was some of that wanted to do better in the community? What was that for you? What was that drive? What made you want to do things like that?
well, that goes all the way back to me being that little boy that guy said I had to say yes sir to,
Right.
and watching my father get mistreated, and watching them tell you that you couldn't do this and you couldn't use that bathroom, you couldn't go to school with them because we didn't want to go to school. We, you know, I say this, and a lot of people say I'm crazy for saying it. That was the biggest mistake in the world for us. Integration, I wasn't proud of it. I really would have loved to have did my last year at Westside because they took everything from us. They
Yeah.
took they took the name of the football team. They took positioners away from us on the football field, and we were better at than they were. They
Yeah.
took everything from us. No prom, no nothing. We had nothing, but we just went to school there. Then we had to
Right.
prove to them that we knew what they were teaching.
Wow.
All we asked for was the same thing they had at that school. That's all we wanted. We didn't want to integrate with them.
Right.
I would rather have played them on the football field than to play with them.
Yeah. You was
But
yeah.
it had to come, I guess, and it good. And we were the one that did it. We the first integrated class that graduated from Lincoln County High School, um, and it worked out fine. But they just took everything away from us.
Wow.
They didn't have a prom for a very long time.
Wow.
They took it from us. They took it from Shirley. They took all that away from us. We didn't have anything. And I'm not bitter. Yes, I am. I ain't gonna say that. Yes, I am because I told the guy Jim Tex. I said, "Only thing keeping me," and he looked at me. "Only thing keeping me from making that one six-figure salary you make because you know I'm better than you are at what I do." He looked at me. I said, "I ain't even got to tell you what it
Right.
is." And I turned around and walked off from him because he was
Right.
making more money than I was. That's really it was so
Huh.
enthused in you that you got that piece of paper that you got because that's what he told me. He told me that's the no. He said that's got something to do with it. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Jeff Parker told me. But he said if you had that piece of paper, I'll let you run this plant.
Yeah.
That piece of paper
Interesting.
from the college. I mean that means a lot. I don't care. I don't care what it's in.
Right.
You got that piece of paper.
Yeah.
If you got
Hey,
that piece,
let's talk about something else, Pop, a little bit, and we talk about this a lot too. So, you've also been like me, unfortunately, an Atlanta fan for longer than I have. You've seen them all: the Braves, the Hawks, the
mm,
Falcons. Can you please explain to people how I tell everybody on my that I know is how hard it is to be an Atlanta fan? Can you tell them how long you've been an Atlanta fan and how hard it's been for you?
back there in the day when we couldn't see, there wasn't no cable, right? In Lincoln County here, we had a transistor radio that I would sit and listen to the Braves play ball, listen to the Braves and out there and some of these old Joe Torre and them playing and Hank Aaron. And I listened to them and they were getting beat every night. Every night they were getting beat. Uh,
Right.
and Tommy Novas and all them guys playing, Clark Humphrey, all those guys playing. football. And, that was a little bit of winning streak when Dominique came to the game, but we never
Yeah,
did go anywhere. But we got there, and Larry Bird, I think, kept putting us out then.
yeah,
Uh, but that was it. Just to say we had a team was one thing, but they never did win nothing for us. And just to get that one World Series,
yeah.
that was something. And I've
That
been a
was
fan, and I guess it's too late to change now. I ain't playing on it, but just sometimes they make you want to just like Sunday.
yeah, yeah. I ain't changing either, but I just couldn't take it this year. They got on my nerves. They just really
Well, I don't know
it
when
hurt me.
we gonna take it. I mean, what it gonna do?
I hope we see it before we both pass away, but it don't look good.
I don't go
But,
on Super Bowl. I think that Super Bowl done come and gone.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
3 years.
we had that thing and won.
Yeah, 28-3. Yeah.
I can't say that over again. 28-3. And that same guy that beat us, Tom Brady, that keep beating him.
He keep beating us like we owe him some money, and he
And
did it into the
he sit there on the sideline and looked at us, and they was leading 17-0. Oh, what that is? That's Atlanta. I got
That's
them.
a lot.
I got them.
He did it again. Tina said hello. Hey, Tina. Hey, Tina. How you doing?
Tina, niece Tina.
Yeah, your niece Tina.
Oh,
Say hello.
okay. Yeah, it's been a day that I sit back and just nursed it in with my wife, and she lead me around the stoves. I
So,
know when I
Pop,
got in, I know when I got in the car with it, I was going to Hamlet for some reason.
yeah. Yeah, you just knew it was. I knew when you came home. I was like, yeah, y'all didn't just go to somewhere. Y'all went up.
And it's supposed to be my birthday, but she she,
Yeah,
I follow her around.
I guess that was your birthday present. So,
I guess so. Yeah.
Pop, man. Hey, just want to say we're gonna end it. Happy birthday! Thank you
Yeah.
for all
Yeah.
you've done
Yeah.
for me. Love you to death, man.
Yeah. I
You got to
love you too.
leave my people with some thoughts, some encouragement, some words. Because you're the last guest of 2020. We all know how bad 2020 was.
I
But give them
want.
some knowledge to my
I,
people out there listening.
I just want. Remember, fathers. If you got kids, tell them you love them. It took me years before I could even told him, man, I loved him. But he knew. I kind of figured he knew it. But you don't need to figure on somebody knowing you love them. You need to tell them.
Right.
And it means more to it because I never heard it from my father. And I loved him to death. I kind of figured like he loved me. But it would have been nice to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave that with you.
All right.
And it was good to do the show, man. And I appreciate you, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Pop.
And
Yeah.
tell the girls to be good.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Nadi want to come on, but she working, so I did bring the in. So
Okay.
yeah,
Tell,
everybody, Willie Glaze, my brother Everett,
tell Jen I said hello.
they definitely will. And I
My
know
Hannah,
Mama listening in the background.
my Hannah there.
Yeah, she's in another room. She's getting ready to.
Tell I said hello.
I definitely will. And to everybody out there, listen to Daddy. Break the chain. Say hello to and you
Hey,
love your family.
yeah, that's
Jennifer
true.
says hello. She just wanted to put that up there. Jennifer says hello.
Okay, yeah, so yeah,
But
it's been nice. It's been nice. Yeah,
67 years old. Wow,
yeah.
man, time
I
flying.
had, I know what I'm gonna leave with this. I'm just glad that my brother Robert is doing fine.
Oh, that's great. Great.
I am.
Absolutely.
That's one good thing that I feel like because he left me a message today, and I
That's
was
all.
so glad to hear his voice. So yeah, I think he's doing fine. So that's another blessing.
Yeah, like Daddy said, we've lost Uncle Marvin, Uncle
Dennis.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, but y'all still kicking, man. Y'all 70 years old, 76. Y'all kicking it as a family,
Oh,
man.
but we done got over that hump now. All of
Yeah,
us, except for Charles in the '60s.
yeah. Charles in his 50s still, but yeah, the rest
It ain't
of
gonna
y'all,
be that
man, just
long.
proud of y'all. I got cousins everywhere.
Yeah, you do. You do.
You had me young, Pop. You had me young. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, we
creeping up on
did.
50, so we never young.
Well, that was me and Shirley
So
both said, and never, your grandma said, told Shirley the best to have them young, so she did, and we did. So,
young, still got time to live. So that's what's up. Hey
yep.
guys, thank you all for joining. That's my father, Willie. Make sure y'all continue to enjoy 2020, and remember that we got through it. And remember to continue to optimize your vision, guys. Thank you. We'll see y'all later. Have a great day.
All righty.
All right, Pop.
Later.